Hi, everyone, and welcome back to episode 29 of the Simply Whelmed podcast. I'm your host, Colin, and I'm joined by my co-host, Chris.
How we doing, everybody?
We're just a couple of best friends who are passionate about all things pop culture. If you're looking for lukewarm takes on movies, video games, TV shows, or even the occasional comic, then we have the show for you.
That's
and
right.
That's right, baby. Don't you fucking forget it. Sorry. You all right?
Whoa.
Did you hear that? There might be some beatings happening down there.
What's going on?
I don't know. Anyways, this week we returned to the movie theater to see Barbarian. The trailer played for this movie before Nope, I think. And it kind of stuck with us as like a potential must-see. And then after hearing some, pretty good things, we were like, yeah, that's it. That's the one we're going for. We kind of been looking for a movie to take us back.
I literally only saw the trailer in the theater, and then I didn't see anything else about it.
I saw last week, I think, when I was scrolling looking for some news for us. I saw something about like Barbarian was doing well at the box office. And I was like, oh, all right, cool. And then I was kind of the same. I almost forgot about the movie until I saw that, and then was like, oh yeah, that did look interesting. And then you brought it up separately as like, we should go see that movie.
Yes, we should go see Barbarian.
I was like, oh fuck, it's happening. But yeah, so I think it was nice to go back to the theater.
It really was. Yeah, we haven't been in a hot minute.
What did we decide? Was it Thor or Nope?
No, I think it came out after Thor.
I think so. So yeah, it would have been Nope, which was in July. So it's been a hot minute.
I know, man. We used to go like every fucking week.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up here, looking at our episodes, see if that's true.
Well, either way, I mean, going to the movies gave me more motivation to keep going back.
Yeah.
And, there's a bunch of movies out that I saw trailers for that I want to see.
Yeah, it was Nope, because we did, the only other movie that we did was Prey, which was a streamer, so.
Called it.
Damn, Daniel.
Mark my words, I fucking called it.
Right, easy. Don't get too big for your britches, kid. Before we get into talking about our review of Barbarian, we do have a fair bit of news to get through.
That's right. When do we not?
That's true. I mean, there's been times. Sony is shuffling its... Sony's been shuffling its release schedule around a little bit, which seems to be just par for the course anymore for all of them. Yeah. A Star Wars project has just kind of disappeared off the Disney schedule without much of an announcement or anything.
Which doesn't make me happy.
No.
I'm pretty bummed.
There's a Blade Runner series that's going ahead at Amazon.
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
And then Breath of the Wild, like the sequel to Breath of the Wild, got an official title as well as a little bit of a trailer. Sims 4 is going free to play. There's a gameplay leak from GTA 6 that I actually have it written here. Here's how much of a developing story it is. When I wrote this up a little bit earlier yesterday, I wrote potential gameplay leak because it hadn't been confirmed by Rockstar yet. But it has been confirmed that there was a massive leak of GTA 6 like early gameplay stuff. So.
Oh yeah, I remember waking up. I tweeted it. If you want to see that tweet, you can definitely give us a look at Whelmed_simply. But no, yeah, I woke up and I opened up the old tweeter, and that was like the first thing I saw, and I was like, retweet that shit.
I bet it's gone.
It could be. Yeah, that's
fine.
So
pull it up. Jamie, pull it up. Yeah, and then the big old finale for us is that literally last week when we got off the recording, the God of War Ragnarok trailer had come out while we were recording. Mm-hmm. And then there was also a Sony State of Play that day that we got a bunch of news out of to go along with that. So
it was in fact taken down. Yes,
I figured it was. So yeah, you can't check that tweet out.
No, I guess you can't. So fuck me, I guess.
I might if you don't stop it. So let's see. What?
No.
Someone sue me. I want to be sued. Now, if you're ready, we'll just fucking start talking about shit, baby.
Let's go in. I'm so ready.
All right, so right off the top here, just a little off the top, Sony has announced plans for a new Karate Kid film, set for release on June 7th of 2024. Mm-hmm. Uh-oh. That was almost dinner. This is obviously coming off the back of how like wildly successful Cobra Kai has been on Netflix.
Yeah.
Which is odd because it's been made clear from the creators of that series that this film will have nothing to do with their show.
Hmm.
Even though
Is it
Sony
still
has
going to
said,
have Daniel Russo in it, like the same actor?
I don't know. So Sony has said that this upcoming film is going to be a, quote, return to the original Karate Kid franchise, which makes it even more confusing. That it's not like straight up a reboot because they're saying it's going to return to the original franchise, but then involve Cobra Kai since Cobra Kai has been so fucking successful. Just make a Cobra Kai movie.
Yeah, why not?
You know? Yeah, so I don't know why you wouldn't try and tie that in, but this news also comes, and there's no real details yet on what that's about, other than that they said it's going to be a return to the original Karate Kid franchise, and then the Cobra Kai people clarified that it has nothing to do with them and their show.
Blow it out your ass.
Blow it out your ass. So this comes alongside some news that both Kraven the Hunter and Madam Web have been pushed back. So Kraven has been delayed from January 13th of next year all the way to October 6th of next year.
What the fuck?
Taking Madam Web's original release date from it and pushing it to February 16th of 2024.
Oh, 2024?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's well, so honestly, the biggest delay there was the Kraven one. From January all the way to October, that's a fucking 10-month delay. And then, Madam Web's is only, 6 months? I say only. In comparison, it's only a little bit. But yeah, so I don't know what the fuck that's all
Big
about.
L in the chat.
Yeah, F's in the chat,
Oh, man, I
You
took
alright?
my socks off, and you know how it's like...
Got them dogs out.
Well, it's like the elastic, they're like, dress socks, so the
Yeah, and you
elastic
gotta-
parts.
Yeah, there's cutting into your fucking calf.
Yeah, damn. Fucking...
Take it off, and you just you got an outline in your fucking leg.
I do,
Yeah.
bro. Oh, I'm just
Well.
itching that, and I'm like,
Yeah, get in there.
popping wood.
I was gonna say, yeah, you gotta be careful, you'll pop a nut. So, yeah. What do you think about all that shit, bub?
I don't know, man. Like, I mean, at this point, I'm not surprised. I feel like everything's being delayed.
Yeah.
Like, everything's being delayed. So it's just like, I don't know. I'm holding out hopes for video games. Not too many video games have been delayed.
Well, then you're gonna hate this next story. No, I'm joking.
Well, fuck.
I mean, Sons of the Forest got delayed.
Yeah, but not by much.
Nah. What was it, February or March?
I think I got pushed back to February. No. Yeah. Because I want to take my vacation in March for the day before.
Right. And then if that's
But
dog
if
shit, you'll have Sons of the Forest.
Yeah, if it's dog shit, I'll still have the Sons of the Forest.
Oh, no, I've done a thing. I forgot to fucking start the timer, Chris.
God, it says it started
About 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Let's see. Stop watching. Oh, God.
Just...
Fuck, I'm fine. Stop panicking. All right. No, we're Gucci. All right, so Disney updated their release schedule after D23 to kind of reflect the new dates and projects that they announced.
Uh-huh.
And Star Wars fans kind of noticed that the Patty Jenkins-led Rogue Squadron film, which she'd kind of toted around last year, the year prior, as being, like, the goal was to make the greatest fighter pilot film ever, because her dad was a pilot and things like that. And so it was like a passion project and all that. It's just not on the calendar anymore.
Damn.
Like, they didn't even make an announcement of like, yeah, that just fell through, or we're delaying it or anything like that. It doesn't exist anymore.
The
We're
what?
just going to take that off the calendar. Yeah, the who? Patty Jenkins? I don't know. Like, yeah, the one that made Wonder Woman? No, never heard of it.
Never. No. Wonder.
Patty, spell it. Patty Jenkins? I don't.
Is that with a P?
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so the Rogue Squadron, that's kind of a bummer because fucking Top Gun gave me a little bit of a poppy wood for some plain action.
And
so
now
I
if
was
it could be
thinking,
fucking
space,
that's just crazy.
Yeah, and then we're just not getting that. So
That's just crazy talk.
that's fucking bananas. Like Gwen Stefani said, this shit's bananas. Yeah. And it is unclear if it's like I said, if it's been delayed and they just don't know when till, or if they are just trying to brush it under the rug. And so we don't know if Disney or Lucasfilm have any intention of like returning to the project, but as it stands, that shit's gone. Like, it just doesn't exist anymore.
I think they know exactly what they're trying to do.
What's that?
They're just trying to push it under the rug and act like it never existed.
Yeah. Like what didn't exist?
Exactly.
Bingo. I do wonder if it has something to do with Wonder Woman 84 being dog do. Because it was. Like, Wonder Woman, the first one, original recipe Wonder Woman, was pretty good.
Yeah.
But Wonder Woman 84, I slept through. Woke up, and it was still running, and I looked at my wife and went, like, how long was I out? And she was like, for a while. And I was like, fuck.
Damn.
Which is not a good sign.
No, it's not.
Now, to be fair, I watched it on HBO Max. That was one of the first ones that they did, like, the direct to streaming. And I also had, like, a full steak dinner in my belly from Texas Roadhouse. Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor.
So that's liable to put a man down, you know? So I don't know. Maybe it was the steak. Maybe it was the boring movie. But I'm thinking it was the boring movie.
Yeah.
So it could be that they're like, Patty Jenkins, turns out you had a hit, you had a hit, now you got a miss. We're going to go ahead and just wipe our hands of it.
We don't like those odds.
Maybe fucking Top Gun Maverick scared them off. They're like, shit, we can't touch that.
No, we can't fucking compete!
We got nothing on that shit. So, yeah, what do you think? Thoughts? Give me thoughts.
I'm rather upset because I think it'd be pretty fucking cool. Like I always liked seeing, especially in the sequel, like a lot of the spaceship fights, like especially with the Falcon on Jakku.
Yeah.
You know, like seeing them do like all those maneuvers and stuff. I thought it was cool. So like, I'd like to see more stuff like that. And if they dedicated it like solely on like X-wing battles during like A New Hope or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like that shit would be dope as fuck.
Yeah, because like Rogue One has some really fucking good space battles.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's kind of really disappointing to see some of the trailers for like Andor and things like that.
Which comes out here like in a couple days. Yeah.
I think it actually comes out on release day. Yeah, you do. It's actually very good.
No, I know. No, the first episode was really good. It's not that I don't enjoy it. I really do.
I'm going to tell you right now. You're going to get caught up as soon as we finish this because I'm going to tell you this. First of all, I think spoiler alert for people that don't keep up with this stuff. Pretty sure Daredevil's in this week's episode.
That's what I heard.
But also, last week's episode was titled "Mean, Green, and Straight Poured into These Jeans."
Is that the one where she breaks it down sexual style?
No, the one with Megan Thee Stallion.
Oh, yeah.
No, I think that's the third week. So that was not last week, but the week prior.
I'll clip that.
Yeah. And, like, for the record, that whole thing where it was like, I can't believe that she Hulk's twerking with Megan Thee Stallion. First of all, fuck you, loser. Second of all, that's very on point. She's a comedy character first. And third of all, it's like a 12-second clip in the post-credits.
Oh, yeah, fuck them.
Yeah, it's not like a plot point of the episode was her shaking ass with Megan Thee Stallion.
Her shaking ass.
Though she does got back, she be popping it.
Popping
Morgan even was like, God damn, why is She-Hulk thick? It's like, hey, I don't know what to tell you, baby. She's got all the gamma rays right to the ass, you know?
Yeah, straight to the hips, baby.
But, no, and apparently that was for Tatiana Maslany, who plays Jennifer Walters. Apparently, Tatiana Maslany is, like, an over-the-moon fan of Megan Thee Stallion. And they were like, so they wrote in that twerking scene, and Tatiana Maslany was like, holy fuck, oh my god, I get to twerk with Megan Thee Stallion. And it's funny, like, I'm just going to go ahead and spoil a little line from it for you. She has a line, after she twerks, Megan Thee Stallion says something about, like, you know, you're more fun than my other lawyers I've ever had. And she, like, gets very intense and serious and goes, I would kill for you, Megan Thee Stallion. And she goes, dial it back.
I would kill for you, Megan Thee Stallion.
And Tatiana Maslany was like, no, that's not even a line, and that's me. That
wasn't a line.
Yeah, actually, the script said, you know,
I'll take you on as a client any day.
Yeah, and she's like,
that was the line. Yeah, she's just, I will kill for you.
And she does. She's just like, all right, dial it back. But no, yeah. So Andor comes out this week. Looks like it's got really good space battles. So I'm pretty bummed that we're not going to get like a fully fledged movie. Plus, that was supposed to come out, I think, December of next year, December of the year after. And it was supposed to be the first movie since Rise of Skywalker, the first Star Wars film. And we're just not getting that. So now it's not until like 2025 or 26.
I'm really excited for Andor.
I am too. It looks gas.
Yeah, and the first 3 episodes are dropping, so...
On Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to watch all 3 of them at once. I have to.
So we might have to honestly do Andor in 2 parts. Like kind of do like a mid-season discussion about it. Only because it's going to be 12 episodes per season.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a hard time keeping stuff brief anyhow.
Yeah.
So then I think if we do an episode about all 12 episodes of Andor, it's gonna be too much. So we might honestly have to divide it into 2.
We'll just get lost in the sauce, man.
Yeah. Maybe we do it in 2 halves as like extra episodes on like a Friday or Saturday.
Yeah.
I don't know. Tell us what you think, people. Tell us what you think.
Let us know.
Tell us
send
what
us
you
an
did,
email. Yeah, send us an email. It's simplywarmmailbag@gmail.com.
Fuck, dude, you're good. Like,
Dude.
Did you go to school for marketing?
I did, actually.
Right, I didn't even know you didn't even know you did that. Yeah. Blade Runner. It's going to continue in a miniseries on Amazon Prime Video called Blade Runner 2099. And
does
Ridley
it have
Scott,
Harrison Ford in it?
I don't know. Right now, there's like next to no details other than the fact that Ridley Scott is involved as an executive producer, and he wrote and directed the first one, and then was an executive producer on Blade Runner 2049, and he's going to do the same thing on this miniseries. It is being written or like show run by, let me find the person's name here. I thought I'd wrote it down, but I did not because I suck at my fucking job here. Let's see. Silka Luisa. Let me find out what she's done here. Search the web for Silka Luisa. Let's do that. Oh, she's worked on the Halo series.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That got kind of like mixed reviews, I believe. So I don't know about that.
Well, we'll see.
And something called Shining Girls on Apple TV Plus.
All I know is I saw something. I'm not sure if it's real or not, but it was something about like Chris Pratt wanted to be, or no, it wasn't even Blade Runner. It was Indiana Jones. Never mind.
Yeah, and Harrison Ford basically, like, he was like, no.
Yeah, he was like, no, like, when I'm done with the character is done.
Done.
And I was like, dude, mad respect for Harrison Ford, dude. He's untouchable.
Yeah. But also, when Harrison Ford dies, there's no like contract on that. You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean?
Like, Harrison Ford can say that, but when he dies, it's not like, well, it was in his contract that there will just never be another Indiana Jones now.
Sure.
I'm not trying to start nothing, but he is getting up there.
I know, I'm not ready for it, man.
I think he might be.
No.
So, yeah, let's see here. Obviously, the title implies that it is going to take place 50 years after Blade Runner 2049, but there's, like, no story details available at this point. They're keeping it pretty under wraps.
On the hush.
On the hush, which I honestly think is kind of the way to experience, like, Blade Runner 2049. The least you know, the better.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. So, yeah, that's all I had about that. I just thought it was kind of interesting that they're making a series, and that it's going to go a whole 50 years into the future.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited for it. I like anything that's like that cyberpunk.
And Blade Runner 2049 is on Netflix now.
Yeah, I have to watch that.
Yeah, it's a good one. So, Nintendo held a Nintendo Direct this past week. I actually think on Tuesday, the same day that God of War came out, the trailer. And we got a brief trailer for, obviously, the highly anticipated Breath of the Wild sequel, as well as its official title, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. You all right? And it seems to show some floating islands that kind of, to me, reminded me of Skyward Sword on the Wii.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just floating above Hyrule from Breath of the Wild. And so it seems to have a lot more like vertical exploration. And the idea of like, I like the shot towards the end of Link just diving down through the clouds.
Yeah.
And landing on that like stone flying contraption. It's pretty badass. But it was a pretty brief trailer. It was like a minute and a half.
Yeah.
No real gameplay or anything. It was just kind of showing you the like I said, the floating islands, the stuff in the sky. And then the final shot of him flying on that stone thing. over the Hyrule, and then the trailer was like, or the title was the main reveal of the trailer. And so it's Tears of the Kingdom, and I might be totally wrong. Let me look it up before I make any blanket statements. Yeah, I'm glad I looked it up. I don't know Legend of Zelda very well, as far as lore and all that.
I'm not. Yeah, I don't know too much about the lore. I haven't beaten Breath of the Wild, but I like it a lot.
I haven't either. I've got to. I'm more than halfway through it because I'm pretty sure I've killed 3 of the giant beasts. I just need to take down the 4th one, and then I would assume after that I fight. What's his fucking name? Redbeard.
Gandalf?
No, Ganondorf.
Ganondorf.
Gandalf the Red.
Yeah, Gandalf. I don't know why, but you getting confused tripped me up, and I was like, "The fuck are you talking about?"
I know, and then when you said Gandalf, I was like, actually, I laughed at first, like, haha, you're making a joke, but then I was like, actually, wait, it's pretty close. So all of that to say that, yeah, it looks pretty good. It makes me want to finish Breath of the Wild, because that's a very fun game. And I don't play my Wii enough. I need more excuses to play it. I get stuck on my PlayStation or my PC, and then my Wii or my Switch kind of falls to the side.
I mean, I play a whole lot of Animal Crossing when I'm winding down, just because it's such a peaceful game.
Yeah.
And dude, I'm fucking hella rich. I'm making mad bank in that game, dog.
You're fat stacking Benjis.
Like Isabella is on my cock, and like
steady.
I just
You've got so many dead prezzies in the bag, you know.
Yeah, just
dead prezzies.
It's unreal. It is unreal.
So, you got any more thoughts on Tears of the Kingdom?
I'm excited for it. I like to finish Breath of the Wild first.
Yeah, samesies.
Maybe I'll start taking it to work and play it on my lunch.
That's kind of what I was thinking, because I've got my carrying case for it. I could just take it to work with me. That'd be dope. So, EA announced that effective October 18th, 2022, all platforms will receive the base game of The Sims 4 for no charge. So, the statement also kind of mentions that they have just oodles of expansion packs, stuff packs, kits, deluxe, whatever, prepared for the foreseeable future, was their phrasing. So, that kind of bums me right the hell out, because they are very nickel and dimey, especially on The Sims 4. Like, Sims has always kind of been bad for expansion packs and stuff packs and stuff like that, but The Sims 4 is like beyond. It's like, here's a game pack and an expansion pack and a stuff pack and a kit, and it's like they're finding so many ways to charge you $40 a head for just basically updates. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, I like how you can kind of pick and choose. If there's certain ones that you want to get, certain ones you don't want to get, you don't have to.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think I have a problem with, if you want the entire pack for now, it's got to be like $500 if you want everything.
It could be.
And that just seems ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Oh, you want to talk about ridiculous?
Tell me.
Let's talk about my. I'll save it. I'll save it for what you've been thinking about.
Yeah, you'll get your time in the light.
Yeah.
I do think that the free price tag on the base game is probably like a ploy to get some new players invested in the game, since it's like 8 years old, and they obviously don't show any signs of like The Sims 5. They're just going to keep pumping money out of people for The Sims 4, which, like I said, is going on a decade old. So I am just really disappointed with the fact that it sounds like they're just going to continue to milk that game for at least a couple more years. I think the market really needs a competitor. There is no other Sims-like game. I know that there was one in development that kind of was an indie game, and I think it's one that, you know, maybe one day it'll release. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
And I don't know. Let me see what it's called here. Paralives, that's right. But yeah, like, Paralives doesn't sound like it's moving very fast, which makes sense if it's an indie game that, like, you know, yes, I bet that EA is going to outperform you as far as speed goes. But I just wish apparently it's a team of 10 people making Paralives. I think that Sims definitely needs a competitor in the market. That way they can't get away with just absolutely pillaging their player base for more money every like 3 months.
Whenever they want something or any form of update.
Yeah, they'll go, oh, well, we'll, and like they put out some free updates as like quality of life updates, but it's nothing major, I mean, I look at something like The Long Dark versus The Sims.
Yeah, their
The
updates
Long
are
Dark
bananas.
has never once charged for an update, and they're just now looking at the possibility of like, okay, and people voted that they would pay for updates. I'll pay for expansions, and I think a big piece of that is because they've never had to, and so they've gotten so much for their money that they're like, if it helps get more content out faster and potentially better quality content, I'll pay for it. And I think that's like just a stark contrast to something like the giant that is EA going, that'll be $40 for 3 new features,
Right.
And
I really like
especially
The
when
Long
something
Dark.
like,
I'd pay for it hands down too. I think we talked about that before.
Yeah, and I just I love The Long Dark, and thinking about The Sims, a good example is like my wife loves The Sims as well, and I have a love-hate relationship with it where I'll play it really heavy for a few weeks and then I just have to disappear from it. But they like their newest release was like I think High School Years or something to that effect. I didn't buy it, but my wife did, and it's basically a reskin of like their Jobs one, where it's all the same UI as far as like taking your sim to work and you get to play their job out. And it's the same thing, but now it's with school tasks as opposed to a job. So it's not like they did a full, oh yeah, and this is how you go to school. And so it's like, all right, I don't know that that's like warrants a whole new update. You could have probably tied that into something else.
Right. Damn.
But who knows? Big story here. I'm legitimately gonna. I was telling you, I'm gonna kind of reference this Kotaku article heavily about the Grand Theft Auto 6 leaks because a lot of stuff has been taken down already, and so it's kind of hard to get hard info. Like I was going to use the Reddit, the Grand Theft Auto Reddit had a mega thread going that got taken down, and I was like, fuck, I knew I should have saved it or like screenshotted it, something. So let's see here. And so this seems to be pretty up to date. Yeah, this morning at 7:20 a.m. it got updated. So a user on Grand Theft Auto forums who claims to have also been behind the recent hack of Uber has dumped nearly 100 videos online claiming to show development footage of Rockstar's Grand Theft Auto 6, that's currently circulating across pretty much every social media platform. Like you said, you woke up yesterday and saw it and tweeted it. I saw it on TikTok, and it matched quite a bit of what we talked about earlier in the year from Bloomberg, including that the game will have a co-star a woman, and it'll be set in Vice City. The videos are very much in development footage, as far as it's got like UI and everything up. Like
I think it looks good though.
I do too, but yeah, you can tell that it's still very early. Where like the world might not be built. It's a kind of a white world and things like that. Where this is specifically them just looking at how the character moves and shoots and speaks.
Yeah, but like just the detail, like the one that was like a lady wearing like a dress or something, and she was walking around, and like the movement of the clothing as the character's running or walking looks really good, as well as the detail on the cars. Shit wasn't fucking around.
The leaker apparently is taking requests, asking people what they'd like to see in more videos. And like, so they're scrolling through and going, oh, you want to see what this looks like? Here. And they'll just post it. So apparently in one of the videos, a white male playable character encounters a racist NPC by a poolside. And as the conversation kind of transpires, you see code required for the interaction just rolling by on the side. So that's kind of how dev video it is. It's like, this is definitely not stuff that was meant to come out.
Yeah.
This is stuff that they were using in-house. And then in another, the woman character explores one of the series, like, strip clubs.
Yeah.
And I think that's one that you and I both saw. And there's a video of somebody shooting by, taking an AK-47 out and shooting some cop cars. And then modeling of some cars was shown, the interior. So we saw just a bunch of shit.
I would say another two that I saw was It was you were as a female character, and she was robbing a restaurant.
Yeah, cafe.
And yeah, and very very detailed on the inside, and you could rob each individual player.
Yeah,
So I'm hoping there's just more of that, where it's like you can start going into more buildings, you can start doing more shit like that, rather than like just robbing the one dude, and all the detail literally just looks like stickers, painted over and over again.
Yeah,
for like the shit on the shelves and stuff like that. So hopefully, they just keep adding that detail. And then I saw one of it was that same woman sitting in the back of a car as it's driving, and she turns around with the gun to kind of aim backwards, and just like focusing from the the face of the woman to where you're pointing. It looks really good. I'm rambling, but from what I saw, it looks really good, and it does get me really excited for it.
Yeah,
because I still play GTA. Every so often, and I always try to get you to play, and you always say no. And so I'm hoping
GTA Online doesn't do it for me.
Maybe GTA 6 Online, you can do more.
I saw a meme that was Scooby-Doo and the gang, and they were taking the mask off of GTA 6, and the mask was covering up GTA Online 2. So apparently, and there's a tweet from somebody here where they screenshotted something off the GTA forums where Teapot Uber hacker, which is the person that posted all this on the forums, says, "Hi, here are 90 footage/clips from GTA 6. It's possible I could leak more data soon. GTA 5 and 6 source code and assets, GTA 6 testing build." So they got like full test builds of the game as well as assets and code and stuff for both GTA 5 and 6.
Holy fuck.
And
they did like a big hack on them.
Yeah. And they said my Telegram is, and they put their @ for any question, download, and then there's the Go file link where you can go download everything. And then they said, okay, so this has gone unexpectedly viral, woke up to 3,000 Telegram DMs. If you are an employee of Rockstar or Take-Two and you're trying to contact me, send me a message containing, and then they gave a very specific long number on Telegram, or you... Sorry, let me put it up here. Oh, well, apparently that tweet's been taken down, so that's cool. But yeah, or use something. So the hacker's kind of trying to strike a deal with Rockstar, it seems. Maybe potentially blackmailing them was one of the things going around, is that they're kind of holding the fact that they have the source code to both GTA 5 and 6 over the heads of Rockstar a little bit. And Rockstar is looking into legal recourse because it's a massive breach, and they don't really know what all they got outside of what they're talking about, Let's see here. I wanted to point something out here. Yeah, Rockstar has responded here, noting, let me pull up their response. I knew that they'd kind of fully addressed it on Twitter. They posted a statement. See if it'll load for me here today. If it won't load, I'll pull it up on my phone, because I had it pulled up earlier reading it. So here it is. So a message from Rockstar Games. We recently suffered a network intrusion in which an unauthorized third party illegally accessed and downloaded confidential information from our systems, including early development footage for the next Grand Theft Auto. At this time, we do not anticipate any disruption to our live game services, nor any long-term effect on the development of our ongoing projects. We are extremely disappointed to have any details of our next game shared with you all in this way. Our work on the next Grand Theft Auto game will continue as planned, and we remain as committed as ever to delivering an experience to you, our players, that truly exceeds your expectations. We'll update everyone again soon, and of course, we'll properly introduce you to this next game when it is ready to be seen. We want to thank everyone for their ongoing support through the situation. And a bunch of developers have individually gone out on Twitter and talked about like how heartbroken they were and sick to their gut that this happened. Because apparently some of the ramifications include the fact that potentially they might not get to work from home anymore. And then there's obviously the idea of maybe somebody that works at Rockstar helped leak the stuff.
Someone's losing their job. Someone's going to jail.
Or potentially several people, you don't know how the business will handle that. And there was a bunch of support from a bunch of other developers, like his name left me, Neil Druckmann, behind Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
Because you'll recall there were massive leaks of The Last of Us Part 2 like a couple weeks ahead of the release.
Okay.
And he tweeted out, "To my fellow devs out there affected by this latest leak, know that while it feels overwhelming right now, it'll pass. One day we'll be playing your game, appreciating your craft, and the leaks will be relegated to a footnote on a Wikipedia page. Keep pushing, keep making art," and then the heart emoji.
Aw.
Yeah. And so there's just been a lot of that, including the subreddit, which was down but then reopened. They actually took down that post like I was talking about, not because it got like DMCA'd or anything like that, but just out of respect. They didn't want to keep posting the leaks and stuff.
Sure.
But yeah, so that's a pretty major. It's probably the like highest profile leak, at least in the last 15 years. Because it's such a highly anticipated game and it's from such a major developer that it is like a holy shit that got leaked,
Yeah,
and for it to be so thorough.
I do feel like I am bummed that it was leaked, but I'm also like, man, they were denying everything, bro, and like they kept pumping out updates. I was like, I didn't think a GTA 6 was even being made yet.
I mean, we talked about the fact that it was,
but like they didn't say anything. They talked about like
they weren't ready to.
That's true. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think anything was spoiled enough for me to be like, damn, now I don't know what it's about. But
there were people dogging on it, talking like I love the memes making fun of those people, but there were people dogging on it of like, this looks like shit, and some people are like, well, yeah, it wasn't fucking, it's not done. It's very early. I didn't think it looked like shit anyways.
No, I thought it looked really fucking good. The amount of detail that I saw like in the game is really good.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, I mean, for me, honestly, I felt like it gave me a boost to be a little more excited. So that's why I'm not like upset. Like, I get it. Like, yeah, a lot of that work wasn't ready to be seen, and I do feel for that. But also, shout out Uber Hacker for getting me pumped for
he's
GTA
a criminal.
6. No, you're correct. We do not support that kind of behavior around here.
No. Good looking out. No. Bump the chest, That's my boy. God of War Ragnarok got a trailer, baby. And it was like, oh, there's an Amber Alert.
So I just saw it. That's my car.
If anybody knows of a 2016 Kia Soul Silver with a specific state license plate, HLD 9706, check your local media.
Bingo.
And if you know that person, fucking turn them in. I don't know what they did, but turn them in.
Turn them in. Did we just dox ourselves?
No. Maybe. Who cares? I mean, in the broadest possible way.
IP address. Start naming it. Start my social security is.
If you turn left on Broadway, like, what? Start giving specific directions.
I have the yellow mailbox.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a blue house with a red door. Now, so PlayStation's September State of Play has concluded. Do you like that, Belch?
I did.
Kind of wrapped up after, it had like about a 20-minute video full of reveals and updates and stuff, and some fresh gameplay footage. They actually showed off 10 games that are coming to PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and PSVR 2. And so we got an official first look at Tekken 8, which graphically looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
Did you peep that?
Uh-uh.
Let me fucking hit you with this. Like, you don't have to watch the whole video, but just in general. Like, fuck it. IGN, suck my nuts.
Suck
IGN doesn't embed YouTube videos.
Is Sydney Goodman still on there?
What'd you call me?
Sydney Goodman? She used to be like one of the speakers for IGN. She was dope. She was cool, but like I just stopped seeing her.
I'm in love with you. I don't know.
Damn, she was cool. She made it feel fun.
Yeah. Fuck it. You'll have to look at it later.
Alright.
But no, it does. It looks like...
Let's insert the clip here. Whoa, those are really good graphics. And there we go.
I know. Yeah. They're putting I think it was an Oculus game, Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge, on PlayStation VR 2. And apparently that's one of the like really good first-person shooters. that you kind of have to ignore the fact that it is definitely like an ad for Disneyland or Disney World, because Galaxy's Edge is Disney's Star Wars park. But apparently the game is very good. Let's see here. Yakuza is getting a spin-off game called Yakuza Ishin. And it's going to be... I think it's that one, maybe? Hold on, let me double check and make sure I'm not... I just
watched a video about the Yakuza games from Video Game Dunkley, not a sponsor. Video Game Donkey. And like... I get so lost. Like...
Mm-hmm.
He's doing so much of just random things.
Yeah.
And like it just threw me off, and I don't know. Like I'll have to give it a poke, but like I was expecting it to be kind of like this real hard game, you know, like this guy.
No, it is a bizarre
part of the Yakuza, and then there's like a point where he's doing like RC cars.
Yeah,
and like it's like a whole games. And I was just like, dude, like what?
What is going on?
He's a gangster. Like what is he doing,
dude? There was a game called Pacific Drive that I want it. So, it's apparently the first game from Ironwood Studios, and it's going to be you driving like a kind of a customized station wagon, basically, along the Pacific Northwest. But it's some weird post-apocalypse where there's like dimensional rifts that open, and there's these weird creatures and stuff that come out. And like kind of changes your environment a little bit, and it's a first person driving game, and you're just trying to keep moving and like I fix up your car and potentially get away from whatever's going on.
What is that out?
No. They just revealed the trailer, but yeah, I'll have to show you that. But yeah, it's called Pacific Drive, and it does look like a banger.
That sounds like a lot of fucking fun. That sounds different.
Neo developer Team Ninja is making an open world samurai game called Rise of the Ronin, which is definitely I'm sure slightly inspired by Ghost of Tsushima.
Sure.
Insofar as they're like, oh shit, like people do want that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm here for it. I want more samurai stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And playing Valhalla, I want more Viking stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll talk more about that later.
Yeah, we're about to get into it with Ragnarok. And
then so we've got fucking the story trailer for God of War Ragnarok. Oh my god. So shows quite a bit, but apparently just shows quite a bit off, but apparently it is mostly from like the first 5 hours of the game. Which is super pumped up, or got me super pumped up, because we see quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so it feels like it's going to be a pretty involved game. We get some nice lines from like Kratos and Atreus, and Tyr, the god of war from Norse mythology. And then Odin has a really cool line talking about like, you know, basically, have you ever been worshipped? You know, like how good it feels to be a god that's prayed to and things like that. And Kratos has Kratos has a fucking banger of a line where he says that death can have him when it has earned him. And you're like, my god.
What the fuck?
Which, coming from a man who has died 3 times in the franchise, you're like, yeah, like, death just can't fucking keep a hold of him. But so obviously, like, the top tier climax of the trailer is that they kind of held off the main theme until Kratos and fucking Thor clash weapons. And because they both have a weapon that they can recall. God,
dude.
And yeah, they throw Mjolnir and the Leviathan axe at each other, and they get caught in the midair, and they just kind of hold each other in midair, and like lightning fucking explodes off of them, and it's just, I popped Chubb and came sprinting across the hallway to you, and it was like, oh, we gotta pull this up. Hold on, get to YouTube fast, and I showed it to you, and then the stinger at the end is them both calling their weapon back as they charge at each other.
And I have a theory. Here's my theory. I'm gonna call this shit now. Mark it. Stamp it. It's the 19th, 9:30.
I like how specific you're being.
Because my theory is when he fights Thor, because obviously he's gonna kill Thor, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so,
we should point out for the record, the whole like worthiness thing isn't true in Norse mythology.
yeah,
That's just an MCU thing. In the Norse mythology, it's just an incredibly heavy hammer that only Thor can lift.
and Kratos is a strong motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were saying that about us lifting it, and I said, dude, like it'd be cool to like as you're lifting it, bashing like
the
circle,
Spartan rage.
Yeah, to get the rage, and then you pick it up and throw it at him. Oh, dude, yeah, fucking cool that would be, bruh.
Or like I said, what if you fucking kill Odin with Mjolnir?
But then I said, I also wanted to point out when they do clash their weapons together, Kratos doesn't have to do anything. Like he can it kind of just comes
opens
back
his hand
to him
and pulls it back. Yeah, to him. Yeah.
But with Thor, then it was a very specific. Like you could hear it, you could see it, and I feel
Thor
like they
snaps,
wouldn't put it in there for Thor snaps, and the hammer comes back to him. So I feel like that's there for a reason, and I could just see it. You're fighting Thor, and you're just breaking his fingers, just ripping them apart, so he can't snap to bring back his hammer.
I do wonder if part of it. Go ahead.
I was gonna say maybe that's how you get a hold of it and throw it at him.
Yeah, or you can just fucking drop it on his head.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god, dude, that'd be insane.
But no, so I do wonder if, from like a game design perspective, if a part of that is to work your way around, like you have to snap to call Mjolnir. So that way there isn't like how do they not accidentally call each other's weapons or whatever, you know what I mean? From the fact that they both just open their hand. So that's like a visual difference. Is like, yeah, you snap to call Mjolnir back, and Kratos just gets to open his palm and summon the Leviathan axe.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, I'm so excited for that game.
We're going a little long on the news. We got to get talking about this movie, baby.
Yeah.
So, Barbarian review. Reception, Rotten Tomatoes, 92% critic score, 70% score from the audience. So, a little bit of a low audience score, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
IMDb has it at a 7.6 out of 10, and Metacritic gave it a 79. So, as far as audience ratings go, they're all floating somewhere in the 70s, whereas the critics kind of had a higher opinion of it, which I guess I could see, because general audiences are kind of stupid sometimes. Not that if you dislike the movie, you're stupid. It's just...
No, that's exactly what we're saying.
That's what we're saying, yeah. No, so performance-wise, right now it's got a domestic box office after about 12 days of $22 million on a budget of 10.5. So it's made its money back. And I was looking, it has only released in the US so far, so it doesn't have a worldwide box office yet. It looks like it has released in Chile, is the only non-US Canadian release. I don't know why Chile was like, yeah, we want that shit. But they got it. Cast and crew, Georgina Miller plays Tess, Bill Skarsgård plays Keith, and Justin Long plays AJ. And then it's actually written and directed by Zach Krager, who, remember yesterday I asked you if you wanted a little fun fact?
Oh,
you said no, you wanted to get it live? Zach Krager is one of the creators and showrunners of Whitest Kids You Know.
No way.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and he fucking wrote and directed this.
I know, what's his name? Tyler Moore passed away. Oh.
Yeah.
That broke my heart. R.I.P. Tyler Moore.
Too
soon. Too soon. They took my boy too soon.
So I don't know if you'll recognize him from a picture, but I'll drop.
I bet you I would.
Boom.
Yeah, I smoked pot with him. Vaguely, his face vaguely looks familiar.
Yeah, so I was looking. It looks like most of his roles in Whitest Kids You Know were just quick little side roles. It seems like he's definitely probably more of a writer-director than he was an actor. Mm-hmm. But did you ever see the movie Miss March with Trevor Moore and it actually is Zach Krager here is the main character in it, but it was basically made by them, and it's just a stupid sex comedy from 2009. But yeah, that's all I know him from. When it said Whitest Kid You Know, I was like, what? I just thought that was worth noting that this movie was made by a guy who also made Whitest Kid You Know.
Dude, that was some of the funniest shit, though.
We still jam to the Old Folks Home song.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hyatt Church is so funny.
Yeah.
I'm
I love
Hyatt
the
Church.
I fucking love the Abe Lincoln skit.
Yeah, that one's good.
That he's just a loud, obnoxious guy at the theater.
He's the fuckhead.
And so they're like, all right, well, I got to kill this guy.
I really like. There's oh god, it's the there's a couple. There's one where it's like the businessmen and they're like shooting at each other
Yes.
like across the buildings. And like
But,
his secretary just gets domed right in the head.
Just fucking dropped.
He's like, Janice.
Yeah, Janice. All right, no, we got off track. We gotta keep moving. We're on like 55 minutes of recording.
Steam it, baby.
All right, so synopsis. You got one ready?
Oh, baby, I do. A young woman.
Spoilery?
No.
All right.
A young woman discovers the rental home she's booked is already occupied by a stranger. Against her better judgment, she decides to spend the night, but soon discovers there's a lot more to fear than just an unexpected house guest.
Yeah, so the one from IMDb literally just says, a woman staying at an Airbnb discovers that the house she rented is not what it seems.
Mine's better.
Maybe. So, spoiler-free plot thoughts. Let's run them. You want to start? You want me to start?
You start, baby.
I thought it did a really good job of building suspense. It felt believable to me. It did a very good job of deriving horror out of like an individual's perspective. So like you and I talked about the fact of like it's scarier from her perspective as a woman in the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And they do really lean into like the stuff that a woman has to think about versus a man.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, and it does manage to make like especially that first night really tense at first of like waiting on the other shoe to drop. I just wrote here, very fucking scary.
Yeah.
Like psychologically horrifying. I actually watched one of the trailers again, and it's from the same producers of The Grudge and It, as well as The Ring. And The Grudge does the same thing to me as this did, where like The Grudge, whenever I rewatch it, makes me afraid of the dark for a little bit.
Oh.
Of like, I don't know what it is about The Grudge, because typically the supernatural stuff doesn't do it to me.
Mm-hmm.
But The Grudge does for some reason. And like the kind of like running sideways up the stairs after you turn the light off, you know? We were like, you're not running, but you're moving a little bit faster, you know?
Oh yeah, you're picking up the pace.
You know? And you can just picture the hand reaching out behind you, you know? And this kind of had that same vibe for me the first night after we watched it when we came home from the theater. I was like,
yeah,
oh man, the dark's a little bit extra spooky tonight, you know? I can just picture someone looking at me from the dark.
And we're going to be plugging in the nightlight sensor, baby.
Yeah, right? With that in mind, it does use the dark very well. Both from like a fear perspective and then also just from a smart like film production standpoint, I think. To kind of, it uses the dark to kind of help with the fact that it is only a $10 million film.
Yeah.
And then I really liked the way that the story was structured. It wasn't a typical narrative structure, I didn't think.
Yeah. So some of the things I really liked is exactly what you're saying is the story. Because it had a very interesting, it's
very hard because the trailers tell you almost nothing. So I'm trying to keep it to like what the trailer shows you.
What you kind of are expecting to go into it takes a really hard turn. That's like that is connected in a way.
Yeah,
and it's like, all right. And then a lot of the camera angles in there as well, just very good. And like I'll talk about a certain one in the spoilers, but I mean just beautiful camera art and
cinematography.
Yeah, it was just it really blew my mind. I always get so jazzed about that stuff, and it was killing it.
Yeah,
and then like you're saying, it was believable. It felt good paced. Like there's no point where I'm like, man, this is starting to drag. Like, what's gonna happen? It all felt like okay, we're learning.
Definitely pulled you through it.
Yeah, it's like we're learning as she's learning, like every little detail, and it's like, all right, you got to hold on to that shit because it's important.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I had for non-spoilers.
Right. Making sure I don't have anything else. So I would say So characters and chemistry. Bill Skarsgård and Georgina Miller, I think, have actually really good chemistry together.
Yeah.
And something of note. So Bill Skarsgård is Swedish, and Georgina Miller is actually British. She's from the UK. And I thought both of them had a really good American accent.
Yeah.
Especially Bill Skarsgård, because I know what he actually sounds like.
Yeah, he's got a really thick accent.
I've never heard him do an American accent, I don't think.
What about like him playing Pennywise?
Well, so I don't know. I count that separately because Pennywise is like putting on a specific voice, you know, as opposed to like he just sounds like a guy in this, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Where I think it'd be easier for someone with an accent to be like, "Hello, Georgie, do you want a boat?" You know, versus just sounding like they're from the Midwest, you know.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then I thought Georgina Miller was very convincing as far as like the fear that she had to have.
Oh, yeah.
And I never thought that she felt like a textbook horror movie character as far as like, oh, okay, this dumb bitch, here she is. You know what I mean?
No,
like everything she did, I was like, yeah, I could see myself being there. Like without giving any much away, there's a scene in the trailer where you actually see like a weird door in like the basement and just a dark hallway. And, you know, you're always like, why the fuck would you go in there? You know what I mean? And she even addresses that. Like, when she sees it, she goes, nope, I'm not. Nope. And she just kind of leaves it alone. She walks away from it. And she's like, nope. And then, obviously, curiosity gets the better. But it was kind of nice to see somebody, like, make a wise decision. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's not... That ain't
Nothing about that looks like me, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah. So, do you have anything about the actors or anything like that?
No, yeah, I mean, I felt...
Spoiler-free.
Every role had a pretty solid purpose, I feel. And it was all very good acting. Like, even some of the smaller characters that were in it, it still felt genuine. You know, as well as, like with Bill Skarsgård's character. You know, it just... The whole situation when they first interact just feels very natural, and it's like, yeah, that's probably
it's awkward in the right way.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it's like convincingly awkward. It's not awkward because you're like, this just feels unnatural. It's awkward because you're like, God, yeah, how would you behave in that situation?
Yeah.
So, how do we rate these things, Chris?
So, you can either be underwhelmed, which means you were, you know, the film was underwhelming. You did not
didn't meet your expectations.
Yeah. You can be overwhelmed, which means it exceeded your expectations and you thoroughly enjoyed the film, or you can just be simply whelmed.
Boom, it's right there in the fucking title, baby.
Yahtzee!
So, what do you got marked there?
Overwhelming.
Yeah, I was overwhelmed. I think part of that's helped by the fact that I didn't really know what I was getting into, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got to know more of what it was, I was like pleasantly surprised by the turns it took. Before we get into spoilers, we did kind of talk ahead of time. This movie does have some pretty like sensitive content as far as like sexual assault and abuse and things like that. So if that's something that you're like not groovy with, definitely don't see it because there is some pretty heavy implication.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, obviously it's a person by person case. But yeah, it was pretty heavily like the word is used, which I don't know that we're allowed to use that word. So we're not going to use that word.
Yeah, just to be safe.
I don't know if that word's allowed on some of the platforms, so we won't use that word. We'll just say assault.
That was literally like, I think my only problem is I think there should have been something in the beginning of the movie that said like, you know, viewer discretion is advised, you know, some of the stuff is
like a heads up. I do wonder if that was in like the MPAA rating. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah.
You know, sometimes it'll say rated R for XYZ.
I don't remember what it was. Yeah, I don't remember though.
It just says, by the MPAA, it's been rated R for some strong violence and gore, disturbing material, language throughout, and sexual nudity.
I guess it'd fall under disturbing material.
Disturbing material, potentially, but yeah, it's vague enough that you might not realize what it applies to.
Yeah.
But also, you know, I don't know. Either way, yeah, so if you haven't seen the movie, and you don't want to hear about that kind of stuff, I mean, we're not going to dwell on it too much, but it is part of the content, so it's going to come up.
Yeah.
Just skip to the cryptids, and if you haven't seen the movie and you want to see it, I would skip to the cryptids. Come back later, because it is a very good movie, and I would recommend going to see it.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I said, it is very scary. I thought maybe it looked thriller-ish from the trailer, and then no, this was like, nope, it is a horror movie.
Yeah, it did a really good job of like constantly keeping you tense.
We are in spoilers now, by the way.
Oh yeah. Like
So,
when checking out the place, everything like that, just that uppity music when she first arrives.
Yeah, the like high tense music.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the whole discovery of the basement.
Yeah.
Like, you did not want her to cross that threshold into the dark. You're like, no, do not. And then when she does go down the hallway and discovers what can only be described as like a dungeon for abuse, she you as the audience member were like, oh fuck, you got to get out of there. And I do think a piece of that does come from how well they set up, like I said, that fear of her perspective of like, as a woman, you don't know what, there's things she should be more afraid of than a guy necessarily has to think about. And one of those is her vulnerability as a woman versus a man. And that discovery of that dungeon in the basement really kind of triggered that fight or flight of like, I've got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Where it's literally a dirty mattress with a camera pointed at it and a bucket presumably for bathroom breaks, And yeah, it's not cool. And she's like, I gotta get out of there. And I think those are the things that really bother me and like scare me, because I've talked about it before. I don't know if I've brought it up on here or not, but like the paranormal doesn't bother me. It's people that scare me,
Yeah.
And so that's something that actually happened,
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh fuck. And then Bill so it ramps up so it's a slow burn until it's not.
Yeah. And then as soon as it hits, it
hits to 100. Because you're like, that first night you're like, oh, is Bill Skarsgård?
Wow.
Would you like to call 100 for emergency services?
No, thank you.
No problem. I won't.
Preach.
Wow.
I know my watch is always listening, but no, that first night with her and Bill Skarsgård, like you said, it's very believable. Because basically the what do you call that? Like the Airbnb got double booked, and so she shows up, and Bill Skarsgård still has it for the night, and she needs it for the night, and they're trying to figure out what to do because it's like very late. It's in Detroit, and in a not great area. And there's some conference in town allegedly, and that's the other thing is they do a good job of making you not necessarily trust Bill Skarsgård up front.
Yeah.
You kind of expect that he's, and I think there's three things going on there. One thing is you could see that being a story that would unfold, just the expectation as an audience member. And then also I think another expectation as an audience member is that Bill Skarsgård's kind of known for playing a creepy role, you know? And so you do kind of expect, oh, well, you've got Bill Skarsgård in here. He's going to be the bad guy, And then the third thing is, like, as a woman, you don't know this guy. And you're really going to fucking stay, if that was my daughter, I'd be mad at her, You fucking what? You just shared an Airbnb with this guy that you've never met? Why would you do that? And so they do really lean into that first night of, like, I don't know that I trust this guy. And then for it to ramp up into full disclosure, like I said, full spoilers, and to try and move things along. They go down into the tunnels because there's another secret passageway
that leads in like catacombs. It looks like
almost like
in there.
To me, it almost looks like an abandoned mine, where it's like hand cut out, and has like lumber reinforcements every so often. And there's just this mine down there, and she's like, he goes down to check it out for her because he's not believing her necessarily. And she finally gets enough of like, I can't find him, where'd he go? And starts hollering for him, and he's yelling for help from what sounds like forever away. And you're like, where the fuck did this guy go? And there is just this big, dark, spooky tunnel that she's kind of walking through, and she finds
and there's like a cage door.
Yeah. Ugh. And when she fucking finds, first of all, Bill Skarsgård scared the fuck out of me. Come crawling out of the dark at her. And he's telling her that there's somebody else down there with them. And I, like, my fight or flight kicked in. I'm like, you gotta get the fuck out of there, you know? And he's freaking out, you know, understandably so, saying that somebody bit him. And you're like, what the fuck? Is this like, is it a zombie movie? Is it a monster movie? What is this, you know? Because you think it was just going to be like a slasher movie of sorts with Bill Skarsgård. And then all of a sudden it's not. And this very gray, ominous figure comes stomping out of the dark, like out of frame almost, out of focus, and just grabs Bill Skarsgård and bludgeons his head into the wall like 8 or 9 times until it's paced. And then the camera pans up and you see that it's just a naked female figure with grotesque facial features that screams at Georgina Miller's character, Tess. And then it just hard cuts to, what's his fucking name? What did I say his fucking name was? Justin Long, just singing a nice song in a fucking top-down convertible on the fucking Pacific Coast.
Yeah, just
and you're like, what the fuck? Because, you know, Justin Long, I think, has like 2 brief shots in the trailer. And so it is definitely a blink and you miss it. And so you're like, so now what's the movie? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because the assumption is that her and Bill Skarsgård are both dead.
Yeah. Which is weird because, like, you both would think, like, these are the main characters.
Yeah. But you do discover, you know, so there's themes of, like, Justin Long is an actor who's going to be a pilot, or going to be in a pilot for a TV show. And his female co-star accuses him of sexual misconduct, or what do they call it? Like aggressive sexual activity or something to that effect.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's trying to figure out what exactly that means for him and then his show and things like that. And basically she is accusing him of full sexual assault. Mm-hmm. And so he's having to start to liquidate some assets because he's obviously not going to be getting projects and things like that. And he's going to have to be facing legal battle. And he owns property out in Detroit and is going to go liquidate his assets to try and get some money back to buy him some time, right? Well, so he goes to this house, right? And there is some nice comedy, honestly, awkwardly enough, with him, isn't there?
Yeah, because when he gets back to Michigan, he's looking around, he's like, who the fuck's here?
Yeah.
He sees all that shit laying around, he's like, who the fuck is here? And then...
Yeah, because it's been a couple weeks, you find out.
Yeah. And, he sees that the door to the basement's open, which is kind of plays an important role because...
that door latches?
Yeah, it gets, jammed, and they got stuck in there a couple times, so they propped it open, and he unpropped it, closed it, and is trying to figure out everything. And then, it is kind of said that, no one's been there for weeks. So he goes downstairs, and he starts looking around.
He's got squatters.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's got a fucking kitchen knife hollering into the dark.
Yeah, he goes, I'll let you live.
Doesn't he say he's got a fucking gun?
Yeah.
I've got a fucking gun, and about 5 seconds, I'm gonna come down and start blowing your head off.
Yeah.
If you come up now, I'll let you go.
I'll let you go. I'll let you get out of here. But, and he goes down, and he sees that dungeon. That dungeon and that long hallway to it. And the first thing he does, when he looks and he goes,
oh my god, or son of a bitch, or oh fuck, yeah, whatever is that.
And then he's Googling basement and stuff for square footage.
Yeah, can underground rooms be counted in your square footage when selling a house?
And then
so he discovers. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, it basically says you can't count it, but you can say an addition.
Yeah, you can count it as area, but not necessarily square footage, things like that. Yeah. And he's sick. That's all I.
Yeah, he's like, oh fuck.
And starts just measuring it with a tape measure. And it's measuring out this room where obviously somebody was held prisoner and assaulted. And he's sits down on the bed and then jumps up real quick and it's rubbing the dirt off his ass and it's oh fuck, yuck, gross.
Then just goes right back to work.
Back to measuring stuff out. And he discovers that long stairwell that goes down even further to catacombs, called them. And he goes, motherfuck, and you're like, okay, now it's set in that this is scary. And no, he just fucking props the tape measure and starts measuring the stairs.
Yeah.
And just stomping his way down into the dark with his tape measure.
And his little flashlight.
Yeah. And literally is fine up until he finds a nest down there. Like this weird room with a TV playing like Mommy and Me videos.
Yeah.
Of like how to be a mother.
Oh, yeah, that was so creepy.
And his fucking tape measure starts getting pulled out of his hand. Like starts unrolling.
Yeah.
And he looks down at it and kind of lets go, and it gets yanked off into the dark, and you're like, oh, fuck. And that fucking beast comes stomping out of the dark at him. That lady thing, and he runs away and falls into a pit. A cage door gets dropped down over top of him. And you're like, well, he's fucked. And fucking Tess, Georgina Miller, is alive down there and basically tells him, like, dude, you'd better get your shit together. Like, you gotta stay calm. If you upset her, you're fucked. You're dead.
Yeah.
So he's like, what? What the fuck? What? And yeah, and the fucking... So the credits call her Mother, so that's how we'll refer to the creature...
Mommy?
Thing. Mommy? No, not Mommy. Yeah, Mother. But
Mother, dearest.
Yeah, Mother. Mother comes stomping over and sticks a gross fucking baby bottle down through the slots. It's got fucking hair on it. What?
What?
No, it's got fucking gross looking hair hanging off of the end of it. Like,
this looks nasty.
It looked like pubic hair, and that's not even me being like making a joke. That's legitimately like greasy curly look to it, and you're like, oh god, what am I?
What mystery hair is that?
Yeah, and Tess is like, drink it. And he's like,
he's like, I'm not drinking that shit, dog.
Like I said, if you're sticking that bottle down there, fuck, you go ahead and kill me, because I'm not doing it. And so, like, it's just her greasy gray arm hanging down there, and then she just kind of leans it over towards Tess, and Tess is on that thing like a fucking lamb. She knows what's up. She's suckling right now. She's nursing. And so, yeah, they're like, all right, sick. And the fucking mommy is like, here you go, try it again. To Justin Long, and he's like, no, pass. And so she fucking lifts the cage up and just drags his ass out of there.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, he's dead. Well, good to know you. And then, oh god.
But she leaves the cage open.
Yeah, she leaves the cage open, and he drops his flashlight. And
Tess was able to crawl out.
Yeah, and what does she discover? What was happening to Justin Long?
Oh my god, dude! That this beast was breastfeeding him and just like,
or at least attempting to,
trying to, man, and like, oh,
he wouldn't latch, and she was getting frustrated.
Yeah, man. Dude, it was just
fucking her voice is kind of really scary sounding.
Mm-hmm.
And she's calling him baby, but it's coming off Papa, and she fucking boops his nose.
Yeah, dude, and this poor
I mean, yeah, it's like
poor guy, this asshole.
Yeah, this fuckhead, who did, by the way, half admit that he did in fact assault his co-star. So at this point in the story, you do know that whether he thinks it was or not, he did assault her. Because he basically plays it off as like, well, she said no at first, but, I'm a persistent guy and she came around.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's so fucking slimy.
Yeah. Fucking greaseball.
And so, then in retrospect, I don't feel as bad about him having this monster's nipple stuffed in his face. As he's gagging and retching, and Georgina Miller's like, basically getting ready to deuce out. In fact, she does, doesn't she? That's when she leaves him.
She starts to deuce out, and then she trips on the tape measure.
Yeah, and Mommy's like, not.
And
cool
Mommy drops.
AJ is the character's name.
Yeah, drops AJ, and Tessa fucking, fucking is hauling ass, bro.
Straight up breaks the fucking basement window.
Yeah, because the door's locked because he took off the barrier.
Because AJ's a fuck.
Yeah, and so she broke out the window, and then some homeless guy helped her out,
saves her,
and Mommy just arm reached out of the window, and it was like,
Yeah,
oh
and
my god.
it is so creepy to see her in broad daylight,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh fuck, because it is all very dark and, like I said, just vague, like cell phone flashlight illumination.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what a dark room looks like with your cell phone light, where it's that almost whitish blue light, you know?
Yeah.
And so it is very like dimly lit. So to see her in just broad daylight like that, like, oh fuck. See her teeth are all weirdly shaped.
Mm-hmm.
And she's almost got like a round mouth.
I found this on the web.
Shut the fuck up! Oh, it gave me an orthodontist.
Oh, hey-o.
Watch off since apparently. Yeah. But yeah. All in all, pretty fucking scary to see her out there like that. And Tess is like, I gotta go back and get him. And I did like the addition of her hoofing it to the gas station and finding somebody that she could use their phone and call. She does look pretty roughed up because she's been missing for who knows how long.
A week, yeah, estimate at least
A week
a
at
couple
least.
weeks.
And so she calls the cops, and the cops basically brush her off as like a crackhead
Yeah.
and just completely disregard. They take her to the house and are like, yeah, no, the only crime I see is that you broke that fucking window. We should, you know. And she's getting so frustrated, and you're like, nice. Glad they take this woman seriously, you know.
Yeah.
And they definitely did not. And so then she takes it into her own hands. She's like, well, I gotta go
Yeah,
get
she's-
Justin Long.
Gotta go save his ass.
And that's about the time that we get the third sort of piece of the pie.
Yeah, because Justin Long, or AJ.
Well, so we see the guy first. We see the flashback first.
Yeah. And it's this guy who...
It seems to be the 80s, like 1980, maybe on the nose, because about Reagan coming into office.
Yeah. And it's this guy, and he's just driving to...
The store.
The store, and he's looking around, and lady asks him, what you in here for, sweetheart? And he's like, diapers.
Diapers, plastic sheets.
Yeah, and then they're talking about having a baby, but they're having the baby at home, and so she's helping him get all this stuff. And then, he just puts it in his car, and it looks just like average, but seems like off, like there's something eerie to it.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of looks over and sees like a woman putting groceries in her car, and then he just sits and waits, and then she leaves.
Her.
Yeah, and he starts following her.
And that's
then
when you're like, oh.
Yeah, and then he ends up following her home and then dressing up as AEP.
No, so DWP. So I'm assuming that's the Detroit Water something, because he goes and checks the faucet.
Yeah, but then also unlocks the window.
Yeah, unlock the bathroom window so we can come back later. And and so then it becomes very apparent that because his house that they're in, you find out, and so he's the one that has the room in the basement,
Mm-hmm.
for purpose. So you're like, oh god, that's great. And that's when you find out from the homeless guy that he's like, yeah, no, like, because he's telling Tess before she goes back in that that lady is not a monster or anything. It's just that's a crazy lady, and her dad still lives there with her, or dad never left basically.
Yeah.
And says that dad was taking girls down there and having babies with them. He says he was having babies with them and then having babies with the babies, and says, how many times can you make a copy of a copy before you get something like that,
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, Jesus. So the poor mommy is just a horribly inbred person,
Yeah.
And and obviously her father is an absolute monster, a human monster. And honestly, in a sick way, I could have seen a little bit more about him. But I don't know that you want to. You know what I mean?
I mean, I felt like it was pretty. It was caught up to speed. Like I knew enough about him.
Yeah, I get the idea.
Yeah.
But he, so you were talking about Justin Long. So he takes the opportunity since mommy's been chasing Tess.
Yeah.
He goes
and
wandering
then
through the tunnels.
Yeah, and he's looking around trying to find something. Then he finds almost like a wire, and so he follows it, and it leads him into this room. and he turns around real quick to see and sees mommy start like lurking out of the shadows, and then sees that he's at
He's at
some
the door.
door, and she just kind of backs off, and she's like, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere near there.
Right, and got us thinking like,
Fuck,
what
what's
the
in
fuck
there?
is right? Like, what the fuck's in there for her to be like, I'm solid.
Pass.
So he walks in, and he's just like looking around, and it's filthy little bedroom, and sees the old guy laying there.
Yeah, Dad, the father,
Mm-hmm.
the monster, laying there, and he is just so old and gross looking.
Yeah.
And he's got videotapes in there. I'm not going to talk much about them,
Yeah.
but they're basically evidence, we'll say.
Yeah.
Proof of what he did. And there's like a lot of them.
Yeah, and it's just
Like 60 of them.
AJ sees it, and then
Puts one in and plays it because he's not sure what it is.
Yeah.
Sees what it is.
Stops it, and then is like, "You're a monster." He's telling him how to save a person. He's around, and he's like, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm like, I gotta call the cops. Like, and they're gonna know what happened here. And then he leans over, basically like grabs a gun
out of his bedside. Yeah, the dad does.
Yeah. And then shoots kills himself.
Yeah.
And then AJ takes the gun.
Yeah, he's like, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and then he's like, all right, I gotta bounce, I guess. And then
at the same time as Tess is going down to get him.
Mm-hmm. And then
oh yeah, because Tess fucking, so it gets dark outside and mommy fucking comes busting out of the fucking front door, and Tess rams into her with the car.
Yeah.
And just pins her to the house, and thinking she's killed her. And so Tess goes stomping down into the tunnels now, feeling safe that mommy's dead. And her and Justin Long meet at opposite ends of the tunnel by accident, and Justin Long thinks that she's mommy, and he shoots her.
Yeah, right in the side.
Yeah, and we thought he shot her in the fucking head because she's got a bloody forehead from the car accident.
I was like, no fucking way, bro.
Yeah, I was like, what? And so they kind of hobble. He's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. And he picks her up, and they hobble out into the street. And fucking mommy is not on the car hood anymore.
She's gone.
And so they're like, where the fuck are we supposed to go? Because his keys are down in the tunnels, and he's like, I'm not fucking.
Yeah.
And so they go hobbling down the street. She's like, if we can get to the water tower where that homeless man lives, he said it's safe there. And so he kind of helps them out a little bit, and is talking to him about everything that's going on. And he's like, they're like, all right, so how do you know she won't come in here and get us? And he's like, I've been living here for 15 years. She ain't never come in here. And about that time, the fucking back wall of his hut gets yanked off.
Yeah,
and she just picks him up by the neck and rips his arm off at the socket, and then beats him to death with his own arm.
Yeah.
And Justin Long and Georgina Miller are like deuces, Yeah,
real quick. They're like, all right, we're out.
And so they start scaling the water tower, get to the top, and mommy is all hot on their tail.
Yeah, and, real hot.
And you're like, oh fuck! It was starting to trigger my fight or flight as far as like they are. She is in hot pursuit.
Your butthole puckers.
Yeah, seeing her stomping up the steps, you're like, oh god, And they. Oh, we should mention. I don't know that we clarified it. That house is like the only house still standing in this neighborhood.
Yeah,
it's in like the outskirts of Detroit where it's just a ghost town.
Mm-hmm.
And threw up a little bit. And Justin Long fucking butterfingers the pistol and drops it over the ledge.
Butterfingers.
He does. He's like, oh.
He does so hard.
He does it with a few items. He does it with like the knife, and he does it with his fucking cell phone at one point. He does it with the goddamn knife and the flashlight, and then the pistol. And you're like, dude, somebody's got to get this guy like some fucking
gloves
with
catching
grippy
gloves.
fingers.
Yeah,
like those gloves
dude.
that what do you call them? Goalies wear that are super sticky.
Yeah.
Give him those because he has got butterfingers. But so he does. He drops the fucking pistol, and you're like, son of a bitch. And Tess is she's been shot. Like she is not well. And he's like, dude, we're stuck. Like, we're fucking cornered. We're dead. And he basically looks at Tess and is like, I can make it, but you're gonna have to buy me some time. And she's like, what? And then he just grabs her by the hair and throws her over the edge.
Yeah. And then
And she's fallen. And mommy
fucking
comedically-
dolphin dives.
Yeah, she's going for her. She's like, not my baby. Dives over the edge and catches Tess and kind of tanks the damage like King Kong, falling off the fucking the Empire State, And so Tess is laying in her arms on the ground, and so
Right.
AJ's like, oh shit, I better go down there, And he goes down. And Tess is kind of coughing, and he starts making excuses. I'm really sorry. I had to do that. I didn't mean to throw you. You slipped. And he starts making excuses. And you thought that he kind of had turned a corner, because when they're talking to the homeless man, he's talking about the fact that like he's hurt people.
Yeah,
and he wants to make
do the right thing.
reparations. And you can tell that he's definitely talking about his co-star as well as obviously the fact that he shot Tess.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're like, his run-in with the father down in the tunnels really affected him, and he realized how monstrous his acts were, And so he's learned a lesson, right? Well, no, he obviously does not, because he fucking throws Tess off the roof. And
Real quick.
mommy fucking opens her eyes, just sits up and grabs him by the face, thumbs his eyes out so hard that his fucking brain starts oozing out of his eye sockets. And then she just cracks his head open in the middle like a fucking apple.
Yep.
And we were like, holy fuck. And mommy starts loving on Tess, trying to help her, you can tell she's hurt. And Tess is trying to tell her, like, no, I can't move. Like, I'm
she keeps trying to pick her up.
Take her back to the tunnels, I'll make you better and all that. And Tess is like, no, I can't move. I can't go, And Tess is like using her free hand to try and fumble around for that pistol.
Yeah,
and,
that was sitting right next to her.
And mommy even hits her with like the Papa, and you're like, oh no, it's kind of sad. And she just fucking puts the pistol to her face and bam, pulls the trigger.
The mommy like kisses, like puts her mouth to her lips, and puts it on her forehead, and then right after she does that, Tess is just bam. Like, oh shit,
fuck, she didn't hesitate.
And then I can't remember what song they played, but that's another thing I wanted to talk about. Soundtrack was good because it totally just took a turn, because it was more of like that upbeat, swanky, like 80s.
Yeah, she's gonna be all right,
Yeah, and she's like, she's walking out, heading to probably to the hospital, I assume.
I would hope.
Well, yeah, one would hope.
But I just want to look at my bullet points here real quick. The monster reveal was really scary, with Bill Skarsgård getting absolutely obliterated. I genuinely thought that like the movie could have ended there. Not in like I wouldn't have been happy with it, but I was like, are you fucking with me? Like that's the end. I did think that it did a good job through the advertisement of not really giving anything away.
Yeah.
I did kind of like the commentary on like the evils that men are capable of in a way.
Oh yeah.
Because obviously not all men are bad, and it even proves that with like Bill Skarsgård. She thought he might be a creeper, and he knew that and was trying to make her as comfortable as he could in such an uncomfortable situation. Right. And then does end up being like a genuinely good guy, and obviously he doesn't make it; he dies. And then the homeless man is trying to help out as best he can, and she kind of makes assumptions of him that he's scary, because earlier he like comes running up trying to stop her from going in the house the first time he sees her, and she thinks, oh god, this guy's gonna get me, and like hurries her way into the house, and he ends up being a good guy that gets got. And then obviously there's characters like the father and AJ, who are not good guys, and there's obviously the very heavy like metaphor, symbolism, however you want to put it, in that the monster of the movie is literally a product of like man's violence towards women in a way,
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it kills, I say it, she kills Justin Long's character who did that thing, and there's definitely a lot of that commentary, and it wasn't heavy-handed or anything, but it was, like men are scary, like
it did a really good job helping. I mean, because it is difficult for like
men to see stuff like that because
Mhm.
it just doesn't happen to us, and
As
it
much,
did a really
yeah, we don't have
right,
to
and
think about those things as much.
it did a really good job of helping see that.
Yeah. Because another thing that it did visually that I liked, especially in the beginning in that first night with her and Bill Skarsgård, is you see they do a tight angle of her locking the door of like every room that she goes into. And then
Oh,
the one
yeah.
time that she doesn't lock it because she's drunk on the wine and she kind of just goes to bed, her door gets opened. Oh, yeah, we didn't even talk about that. That was one that really was the implication that, because the homeless guy straight up tells her, like, you don't want to be around here because she comes out at dark, And you're like, oh, fuck. Like, the idea that she comes up out of the tunnels and just wanders at night is terrifying. But that first night, she wakes up in the middle of the night to hearing her door getting opened, and she's got her back to the door, so she's kind of listening to see if somebody's coming into the room or not. And then you just hear footsteps go stomping down the hallway, so she kind of sits up real quick and sees that her door is open. And Bill Skarsgård's laying on the couch having a fucking nightmare. And when she goes, like, creeping out to check on him and ask him if he opened her door, you see in the background the basement door shut. And, then now that you know what's down there, the realization is that fucking mommy was just in the hallway creeping on them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so scary to me, the idea that
You got me
thing could
turning
just
around,
be...
looking around in my room, bro. I'm getting
Yeah.
fucking spooked.
Yeah, that thing was just... had opened her bedroom door and was looking in at her. Bill Skarsgård's asleep on the couch and she was looking at him. And that just bothers me. Like, that's the part that makes you, like... gives you the chills on your spine and makes you, like... run up the stairs when the light turns off, Is that thing could be there looking at you. And then I scared the shit out of Morgan. Everybody listen up. We got home. It was a good one. Our pantry also doubles as the doorway down to our basement, which is an old house, and it's very cellar-like. And so I reached in to get a trash bag because we were changing the trash. And it's about midnight. And, we're fresh off this movie that deeply affected Morgan. And I lean in to get the trash bag, and I go, Mama! And she about came out of her skin. She's using my middle name. She's calling me motherfucker. It was a good one, though. I got a kickle out of it.
Mama.
Mama! And, so I did, thinking about it, the father, obviously, absolute monster, but I like that dynamic, almost of like a Frankenstein thing, of like, that he was the real monster,
Yeah.
And unfortunately for mommy, she's just a product of his monstrosity, and can't control the monster that she is, and so she was actually a very sympathetic character. Kind of feel bad for her, but understood that like this bitch has got to go.
Yeah, I was gonna say ultimately needed to be put down.
Yeah, but yeah, it was actually a very good movie, and there was a lot more to it than I thought there was.
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
But with this is going to be a lengthy episode. We might push 2 hours. Chris, you got any more thoughts on that?
I mean, no, like we kind of went through just like in order of the movie, so everything I wanted to talk about, I said.
Yeah. You had a shot that you wanted to talk about.
Oh yeah, there's a shot when AJ pulls up the pistol right before he shoots his Tess, and it comes up and it's kind of like almost like that Evil Dead camera shot where it like pulls up close to his face,
almost a fisheye lens.
Yeah, and then right in front of the barrel of the revolver, the pistol he had.
Yeah,
and there's that
for
one.
For a moment, it looks like a first-person view.
Yeah, and there was like that one, and then I know there was one more camera shot like that.
Yeah,
that was like that, and I can't remember when. But no, I really enjoyed the cinematography in it, and the camera shots. I just thought it was really unique, and it was like, I wasn't expecting that, but it looks good.
Yeah, and I liked the angle in when Tess first discovers the basement, the first room of the basement, the dungeon, and it's a very dark hallway with no light bulb, but then that has a light in it, so there's this very long dark hallway leading to the basement, back to the basement room, the main basement, and then the dungeon that's lit up, and the angle is kind of divided. The screen of like on the left side of the screen is the length of the dark hallway, and then just the light out of the basement doorway.
Mm-hmm.
And then the right side of the screen is Tess standing in the doorway of the dungeon, and like it does a good job of drawing your eye to the dark of like, oh god, is there something to be seen there? You know what I mean?
Right.
And visually gives you the fear of what's in the dark. and kind of expresses what she would be thinking too, of like, fuck, I gotta go back out in that hallway now. You know?
Another good shot is when she first, opens up that secret door that leads to the dungeon.
Yeah.
And you see like the shine from the door handle.
Mirror. Oh yeah.
From the mirror. Yeah, it's from the mirror. But shining on the door handle, and it kind of looks like a pair of eyes.
Yeah.
But like and it just takes it, for me at least, it took a minute. I was like, what the fuck is that back there? And then it kind of got closer. I was like, oh, that's a door.
Yeah, and just the first initial shot of that doorway where it is just pitch black and you can't see into it, and it does, like, it's a very natural primal fear that everybody has to some degree of like, I don't like the dark because I can't see what's in it, and that's just one of my senses gone, you know. And then your brain automatically starts to linger on like what could be there that I can't see, you know.
Yeah,
and so it really gets you.
Yeah, that terrifies me.
Yeah. Sleeping with a nightlight on.
Oh, big time.
So, Chrissy boy, what you got for me, baby? What time is it?
I think it's time for the welcome back to Chris's Scripted Corner. I'm your host, Chris. So, in preparation for Barbarian, because honestly, going into it, I thought there might be some like Norse.
Yeah, go ahead.
So anything
I want to tell people how big brained I was.
Yeah, well, go ahead and say that then.
Sorry. Back to Barbarian for but a moment. I was trying to figure out why it was called Barbarian. Because like obviously there's like the violence of man, and so I was like, maybe there's something there about Barbarian, you know? But I wasn't sure. Like, I was trying to think who the Barbarian was, because Barbarian sounds very masculine, so I'm like, well, it's probably the father figure, you know, or whatever. And then I got thinking about, the house is on, it's 476 Barbary Street, and I was like, oh my god, it's Barbarian because they are barbarian, like they are from Barbary, so they are barbarian, you know. And I was like, fuck me, that's pretty, I wonder if that's it, that sounds right. And I'm like telling Morgan this at 12:30 in the morning, you know. I'm like, I thought about it. She's like, oh yeah, neat, baby, you know. And I actually read an interview with Zach Krager, and he said that Barbarian was actually just a placeholder title for the movie, on the script at least, but it stuck. They liked it enough that they just left it. So then they went and named the street Barbary Street to make that the case, that it was Barbarian. And I was like, my god, I'm so fucking smart. Like, I sent a screenshot of that to Morgan and was like, oh my god, I'm a fucking king. And she's just like, okay, good job, baby, you know. Like, oh, fuck. But so I thought everybody should know, you know, like you said, let the record show, you know.
Yeah, stamp it. Shit. Stamp it.
So, sorry, back to you.
No, yeah, I'll restart.
With it being Barbarian, yeah.
Welcome. No, yeah, so I, going into the movie, I thought it was going to be, some stuff about, like, Norse mythology, anything like that, about, like Nordic, barbarians, or, like, maybe urban legends, anything like that, and there wasn't. So I wasn't disappointed, because the movie was fantastic, but I was like, you know what, why don't I find a cryptid that talks about, like, Norse, urban legends or cryptids and anything like that, and I found one here that is actually pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, let me hear it, baby.
So, this urban legend dates all the way back to 1346 to 1352.
Fuck.
When was that? What was going on in that time, Colin?
Give me the time frame again. Let me hear it.
1346 to 1352.
1346 to 1352. So that's 6 years. Was that the Crusades?
Nope.
I don't know.
It was the Black Plague.
Oh, word. Okay.
So, basically, there is, in Norway, like half their population was lost, and then in Denmark, lost a third of its people from the plague, and eventually, Scandinavian just made this monster, this urban legend, and they call her Pesta.
Mm-hmm.
And Pesta is a figure of illness, often it says here, a figure of illness often appearing in the form of an ugly old woman dressed in black, who carries a rake or a broom.
Okay.
And if she travels farm to farm, land to land, and
basically you'll just find her in your farm or your house one day, and if she's carrying the broom, that means you're dead. Like, you're gonna die.
Fuck. Oh
she's
shit! She's got the broom.
Yeah, she's bringing in the plague. But if she brings the rake, then that means your farm and your people might survive.
So she's kind of like the fucking groundhog, seeing its shadow.
Yeah, dude. I'm so curious on, like, what started to be an old woman. I'm so curious that I hope to God that there is just some old woman who sometimes would carry a rake, sometimes would carry a broom, and she just would get lost. And she said, "This isn't my house." And she goes, "Oh shit, there's people." So she doesn't say anything, and she just walks out. And they're like, "She's got the fucking broom, we're all gonna die." And, like, towns are just collapsing and falling apart.
In front of this old lady.
Bro! And this lady goes, "Left me with her, isn't it?" She's walking around with the rake, and people are just crying on their knees. Thank you!
Yeah, you've got mothers crying and holding their babies, trying to work up the strength to do what they know they can't do, you know?
Jesus.
Because the old lady's coming with the broom.
Yeah. But, so, I mean, yeah, and, that's about it.
What's this bitch called?
Pesta. Pesta.
Like pesto with an A.
Yeah.
Pesta. Yeah, so she was coming. I wonder if that derived from pestilence.
It could be. But I just thought that was interesting. And then I did have another one, but I just might save it for next week, just because since we've been running along so long. But I do have a couple cool ones on here on this list, so I'll just save it.
Well,
but
what you been thinking about, buddy?
Well, I mean, honestly, dude, let me tell you this. Let me fucking tell you this.
Fucking tell me, dude.
So I was gonna play Oculus with a buddy one night, and we had this grand idea. And there's this game called Bar Fight that you can play it on VR. And we're like, well, let's play this. Let's get drunk while we do it. So it's drunk bar fight in a safely manner. And we're like, dude, this is such a good idea. And we're like, sorry, we're getting all giddy. I'm like, all right, straighten the fuck up. Let me start charging this bitch. And then I'll start drinking a little bit. And then from there, whoa.
Oh my god.
Your little helpers.
Sound like yours is the one that started it.
Oh, fuck.
Literally him in the hallway.
But, no, so, I'm starting, drinking a little bit. I'm, like, getting a good, like, I'm a little tipsy. I'm like, all right, perfect. Put the headset on, getting ready. And it just says your cooling fan's not working. And I was like, what? And so it lets me dismiss it. And so I'm like, all right. And so I go to the hub, and it just won't load anything. So I'm like, man, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And so I take my headset off. I'm trying to figure it out, and it's just not working. So I'm like, well, I texted my buddy. I was like, well, I'm just tipsy disappointed, and I somehow have to try to figure out to get a hold of tech support. So Godspeed on me. And so I'm going back and forth with these emails, and they're like, you need to get your headset serial number, which is going to be on the left-hand side of your Oculus, and you have to peel back the head strap that's connected to it. And I was like, man,
what the fuck?
I'm no rocket scientist, but what the fuck is that? And so I thought you had to pull back the whole plastic strip connected to the headset like it says in the email. But I was like, I don't know, man, that has a speaker on it, and I feel like that probably shouldn't come off.
Yeah, I don't think
so
I should break that.
I was like, I'll be safe. And so I sent an email back, and I was like, hey, this may sound stupid, so do forgive me here. But is this, am I supposed to do that? I just don't want to break it due to operator error. And they basically called me stupid. Yeah, they're like, you fucking dumbass. And they're like, hello, good question. Here, let me pull up the email. I'll read it right now.
Yeah, do that. Yeah.
Let me see here. Give me a second. All right. It says, hello, Chris. Good question. We would rather you not break the headset, so I have provided a picture example of the Quest 2 serial number. You can clearly see the plastic piece and where the headset fits into the arm. Gently pull away from the plastic. Yeah, they drew me a picture and sent me a link to multiple photos of how to do it. And then they said, after everything, in all bold, please let me know if you have any other questions before you act on anything.
And I was just like, damn, they really wanted to let me know, like, hey, dumbass, we have to hold your hand during this, and we want you to know that. But eventually, I got everything to them, and yeah, they're gonna send me a new one because I haven't even had that thing for a year. Yeah, customer service rep the customer service rep, very very good job. So prop to them, but a little upset with the Oculus itself. But what about you? What have you been thinking about?
Well, first of all, I was thinking about the fact that Barbarian did make me want to watch some more horror movies.
Yeah.
Just because I have a love-hate because I enjoy being scared, but I don't know. I also don't at the same time.
Sometimes they're a little too spooky.
Yeah, sometimes they spooky. Like, I don't know, man. So there's that. I don't know what, like, if anybody's got some, maybe we get some under our belt, and then we could do like a horror movie episode for Halloween.
We could do that.
Or even, what was the other idea that we floated? Oh, yeah, telling each other, like, scary stories.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But then I've been playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, because, we talked about Mirage a couple weeks ago, I think last week, and I was like, I never played Valhalla, and one of the people that I work with was like, dude, I enjoyed it. It was pretty fun. And I actually have PlayStation Premium or whatever the fucking, like... Yeah. Yeah, me with my PlayStation 5, I've got PlayStation Premium, but so it's included with that. And so I thought, well, fuck it, I'll download it and play it. Here we are in my knowledge. And,
knowledge.
I just saw something out of the corner of my eye. It scared me. It was just a reflection of my glasses. You start doing the grudge sound. Oh! Mama. But, yeah. And then, so it's actually been pretty fun, but like I said, it does make me want like just a full-fledged Viking game, because you can just roll up in your longboat and just start raiding a waterside encampment, and you like blow the fucking horn and shit and just start bludgeoning people with axes and shit.
Jesus.
And you're like, my god, I like being a Viking. But and then also I want to finish Breath of the Wild, like we kind of talked about earlier, and then I wanted to kind of broach the subject lightly here. Like, there's no solid plans at all. We just want input. What do you guys think about us maybe putting ads in? It's something that we've kind of toyed around with, and I don't want to just spring it on you guys,
Yeah.
And like, what kind of ads would you prefer? Would you prefer like, ad reads? What'd you say?
Blue Chew?
Yeah, just get sponsored by Blue Chew, and what was it? Joe Rogan was sponsored by Fleshlight for the longest time. Just get fucking.
That'd be so fucking funny.
Oh man, but no, like legitimately, do you want ad reads where like we read an ad at the beginning or end or middle of the episode, or do you just want like pre-recorded ads that just get plopped in, or if you really don't want ads, we won't do ads at all, but it would be nice to kind of get a little something back out of this. We do spend a decent spend a decent chunk of our weekend, in preparation for this. Yeah. So it would be nice to get a little bit of something back for it. And we have put some money into it, so it'd be nice to get a little something back. But just some input on that, whatever you guys think about it. Yeah. Want to include you guys a little bit on that.
Yeah. We could just start throwing like super political ads in there.
Yeah, just hardcore and like extreme ends of the spectrum ads too. It's not like endorsing a political figure. It's endorsing like ideologies.
That's awful.
Oh man, again, we want to thank you guys so much for your attention and support. If you guys enjoyed this episode, be sure to give it a great review, tell your friends about it, obviously share us on social media. Word of mouth can be a big old endorsement for us, and we would appreciate the exposure. If you are listening to us for the first time, or you've kind of been shadowing us a little bit, make sure that you like, follow, subscribe, however your streaming service of choice phrases it. Make sure that you follow us. That way you can get updates when we post new episodes and things like that. And then it does help other people discover us a little bit. Makes it easier for us to get seen by more people who might like what we have to say.
Yeah.
Chris, if people want to get in touch with us, give us some feedback, ask us questions, help us spread the good word. How would they do that?
The good word of the Lord. Yeah, absolutely. You can always reach out to us on our Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, Simply Whelmed Podcast. Our Twitter handle, of course, is Whelmed_Simply. And as always, we'd always love to hear your recommendation, good cryptid stories, shit in your pants stories, dick
Bingo.
size stories.
I still have
you
never told
name it.
my shitting the pants story.
You haven't. We'll have to touch base on it. Like any
Oh,
stories
maybe-
you guys got.
Maybe if we start a Patreon, that can be the first.
Ooh.
It's like, is I just at length in detail talk about the shitting my pants story.
I ain't bad. Idea.
Not bad at all.
That's all. That's all it is just us telling horrifying stories of events that's happened to us. Anyways, if you want that, you can always reach out at simplywellmailbag@gmail.com.
Dude, you're so fucking good at that. I don't know how you do it.
I don't know, man.
Next week, I don't know that we've got. We don't have anything like down, so we look at a TV show or something. But I think that Don't Worry, Darling comes out this weekend, so we might have to check that out.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. If not, there's a movie called Prey. Oh, dude, religious shit, like anything that has to do with the devil, scares me. Yeah, and that's the thing is like, I don't really mind saying this, and I'm not sure if it's gonna affect anything. I'm not like super religious.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
You're like, what if I'm wrong?
well, no, but it's just like the movie coming out's called Prey to the Devil, and it just looks fucking terrifying.
All right.
But that looks good. But yeah,
right.
I'd be down to see that. Don't worry, darling.
Yeah.
We'd have to talk about all the drama, the scoop with it.
I know, right? Fuck, we could do a whole episode just about that.
Yeah, we could. No news, nothing.
Nothing. We gotta, fuck it. We're doing a solid, 115-minute episode on the fucking drama on set of Don't Worry, Darling. But, that and more next week. That's the end of the show, Chris. Tell everyone bye.
Bye.
I don't mind the idea of Patreon just talking about us shitting our pants. We'll have to start shitting our pants more.
Yeah.
Like a Nikocado avocado kind of.
Yeah.
We're just shitting our pants for content.
You just gotta commit to the bit.